Okay, so welcome to part 2 of our video. We're now going to look at um, how you write and how you read to and from a file. So the first thing that we need to look at is most streams follow only one direction. So what you need to do is okay. So if you want to, for instance, you wanting to read from a file, you need to be able to have a StreamReader, which if you have done files, you would have seen that. And then if you want to write to a file, you need to have a StreamWriter. Now, if we look at, for instance, our example here. So what we do, let me quickly grab a pen. So what we do here, we're trying to write to a text file. And here's our text file. It's called our file.txt, and it's in Notepad. So the first thing that you need to do is to add your system.io namespace in your C#. So here you write system.io so that you can be able to have access to this class called StreamWriter, or all your StreamWriters, your StreamReaders. And then you need to create an instance of your StreamWriter class so that you can be able to write to a file. And then your class is going to require the name of the file that you want to write to. So the name of the file, you put it as is, our file.txt. And then as you see here, it's our file.txt. Now here, you're going to see that it says true. So it's the name of the file and then the comma and then true. What that true means is that when you run this code for the first time, for instance, what is going to happen is that it's going to write good morning to the file, and then on the second line it's going to write enjoy your day. When you write for the second time, if you've got this true, then it's going to have a new line. It's going to continue writing in this file. But if you do not have this true over here, then every time you create something, or every time you run this code, it's only going to write this. It's going to create a new file, and then it's going to write this. So there won't be any continuity in your information stored in your file. So this true says you continue adding on top of what already exists, and then you close your file. So we've discussed writing, and then you need to remember to close to your file. And then here, we now want to read information from our file, and then it also uses the same system.io namespace. So the first thing that you need to do over here is to create an instance of your StreamReader, which is going to read information from your file and then display it to the user. And then here we do that through the console window. So how does this work? So you have a string that is called the line, which you can call record if you want to, because this is now a single record. And then this line, you do a while loop and say, while this line, and then you say line equals reader.readline, which means that this reader.readline is a single line in this file, which means that reader.readline at this point is good morning. And then if that is not equal to null, so if it has something, therefore it should get inside the loop and say console.writeLine, and then you write line. So what is reader.readline? It's good morning all, and therefore the first line is going to be good morning all, and then it's going to write good morning all. And then it's going to go back and say line, this line equals reader.readline. Now when it's moved to the next loop, and then it's going to say enjoy your day. And then it's going to say line is line null. Yes, it's going to be null because there's nothing else in our file, as you would have seen in the previous slide. Therefore, it's going to stop running, and then it's going to have a console.readline. Okay, so that's now how you write to a file. So this is your record, which is a single string. It says good morning all. And then the second record, enjoy your day. Now, if you want to keep on writing to your file, therefore you might need to be able to structure your information so that you can be able to, for instance, to write records and be able to separate. So if you would have seen in the previous slide, good morning all does not need to be separated. It's just one line. But now, if you have, for instance, a name, so let's say you've got my name. Okay, I won't be able to write as good as I would have. So now, and then my surname. How are you going to be able to add these and see that these are separate from each other? Now you need something called a delimiter. A delimiter is a character that is going to stand between these two, maybe a hashtag or an asterisk, anything. It can even be a comma. So for instance, here you've got a comma, and then you've got 211 student number, and then you've got a comma, you've got my phone number, you've got a comma, and whatever. Now, when you write to a file, this is how this is going to be written. And then when you read, you need to separate this and say wherever you find a delimiter, therefore you need to remove that. Wherever you find a delimiter, you need to remove that. So that's how you're going to write. And then your information is going to be comma separated, or it's going to include values that are comma separated. So if we look at this example over here, so you need to firstly choose your delimiter. You need to have a single delimiter that you want to use for a specific file. So if you come, for instance, here, so let's first start this side. So you need to enter a name. So you enter my name. You're required to enter my surname. You enter my surname, and then you're required to enter a mark. So this is a student file. Now, how do you store this? You need to store this as a single record. So all this information needs to be stored as a single record. So we go back to StreamWriter, and then you specify the name, and then you specify that you want to keep adding information to this file. So how do you now use a delimiter? You say write, which is this write, which writes to a file, dot write line, specifying that each and every line should go to its new line. So here's the delimiter, it's a comma, and then here's a delimiter, that's a comma. So when you're adding your information, you need to say you add the name plus a comma, and then the surname plus a comma, and then plus the mark. And then that is how your line or your record is going to look, which is this record. So there's my name, my surname, the comma, and then the mark. And then the next line is going to be John, comma, which is the delimiter, Doe, comma, which is the delimiter, and then the mark, which gives you this record. So how can you be able to now read information from this file? The one way to do that, when you are reading from this file, you need to be able to split this file. So wherever you find that file, this delimiter, you need to split and then only take one. You only take the name, you only take the surname. So if we move on to this, so the first thing that you need to do is to declare your StreamReader and then specify which file you want to read from. And then there you're going to have your line that you always had. And then now you want to store these fields, your name, your surname, and your mark, in an array. So how do you specify this array? So you read this entire line, which is this line, the name, the surname, and the mark, together with the commas. Now what you do is you take your field, you say the field over here equals line, which is this line, dot split. So you split everywhere where you find a comma. Now once you split, you're going to have 3 arrays because you've stored this information into an array. The first array is going to be filled into 0 because now that's the name. Second array is going to be filled into 1 and then fills into 2, index number 2. And then you're going to be writing that. So, and then I've just separated that with a tab. So now here, what you do is you display. So as you can see that we've now separated this using a delimiter, and then when you run it for the second time, you're going to separate that using a delimiter. So that is how you can be able to write information and read from a file. And then you also need to close. Then just one thing, if you are going to check, for instance, if a file exists, this is how you can be able to do that. There is file.exist, and then you search the file name that you want to check, and then if that exists, you can just quickly say the file exists, and if the file does not exist, you can say that file does not exist. So we've done StreamWriters and as well as StreamReader and what those can be used for. So thank you for listening to my recordings. We are going to look at this together so that you can be able to ask questions. Thank you.